welcome to Awesome Vacuums. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a review on the Hoover WindTunnel Self-Propelled Anniversary Edition. Now, the basic design, the WindTunnel Self-Propelled have been around for over 2 decades at this point. I believe they were originally made in '98. They went up to about 2018 when TTI discontinued this model, but these are still very common, and you can still find them at thrift stores, online, or wherever. So should you pick one up if you come across one? Well, we'll go over that in this video. So I'll do the usual overview, and then we'll do some pickup tests. So let's get started. Alright, so here's the Hoover WindTunnel Self-Propelled Anniversary Edition. So as you can see, it's in this really nice blue color, which when TTI took over, they went to this color and this this design, because before that, when Maytag owned them, they made several different colors of this. And actually, what a coincidence, I'm actually wearing a blue shirt, as you can see. And I did not plan on doing that. I just figured I'd do this video. So anyway, now these really haven't changed much since the Maytag variants. However, there were a few differences. So you still have your basic height adjuster. So you have medium, or low, I'm sorry, then medium and high, and then you have your carpet and hard floor setting. So that's carpet with the brush roll spinning, and then that's hard floors with the brush roller off. And now the proper way to use this height adjustment is kind of like a older concept or something like that. You would want to lift the machine up, or the base, lift it up like that, and then you can see the height adjuster moves easily. Because sometimes people would complain that the height adjuster on theirs stopped working, but in reality it was probably because they were trying to use it while the machine was reclined. But if you hold it up like this, it should be fine. So yeah, that has been the same since the Maytag versions. And then you still have your clear window with the patented WindTunnel lettering, which fortunately this one here is kind of faded, but what can you do? And now right up here, some of these had the embedded dirt finder, some of them did not. This one does. So you have your green means clean, so that's your clean and dirty light, and then you can change that from high, where it would be more sensitive, and then regular, where it's just normal. But this was really just kind of a gimmick, really. Didn't really make much of a difference, I don't think. And then right here you have your headlight, which all these WindTunnels had. And something to know on these is the bulbs are the same as a G-Series Kirby, and they do last a long time. However, little tip to keep them lasting longer is by undoing these 2 screws and occasionally cleaning this department out, because it can get a little dusty in there. So sometimes that could cause the light to burn out. So if you keep it clean, it should last longer, because on all WindTunnels that was a problem. These headlights would get really dusty inside. So yeah, just about every single one of these I've worked on, I've come across that. So that's just something to keep in mind. So anyway, moving on to the top here, as you can see, you have this 3D printed Hoover logo, which is really cool. And then if we just take the cover off, as you can see, I'm running the Hoover Type Y HEPA bag, which is very important that you run these, because the paper bags just don't filter as well, and this filter is so much better. And as you can see, it's very nice and clean inside. So yeah, Then below that, you have a little filter that protects the motor. So if the bag explodes or something, I guess it would be some sort of protectant before the anything would get down to the motor. And then right here you have your, on the bag door is your bag check indicator. So there it is, it's piston operated. And then if I just get this cover back on, which is a little difficult to do for some reason. That's it, there we go. Anyway, moving on, here's the turbo brush, which is pretty much the same as the newer Hoovers today. My Elite Rewind and my T-Series bagged has a similar turbo brush to this, except this one here you can actually undo these little clips and this cover comes off and you can service it. Whereas on the, I believe on the other two I have, you have to take off 2 screws instead of these clips. So yeah, that's just something interesting to know. And then if I just get this brush, there we go. So moving on to the top, as you can see there's a Hoover logo. Then you have your typical slider on and off switch. Now there's no electrical connections in here, it's just a little plastic rod that runs all the way down. And inside here is a rocker switch. So when you turn it on, moves that little rod and it turns on the rocker switch. And then when you turn it off, it pushes that switch to the off position. So yeah, they've been using this since the Elites actually. I believe it was the Elites that started that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, and then right up here is your self-propelled on and off. So right now it's on, but if you turn the switch to the left, it's off. And basically what this does is, as you're vacuuming, when you push down, it engages the little self-propelled, and when you pull it back, it pushes the self-propelled off, and I'll show you that in a second. And something important to keep in mind is you should not pick it up by this handle, because that will snap the little cable and damage it. So it's always best to either pick it up by the little handle here, or you can hold it down here, but just not up here. Now they started this with the Dial-O-Matic and Concept machines, this little handle, and it really didn't change much. So I guess I'll show you really quickly what that does. So if I just recline the machine, and I'll show you. Look, if you look down there, you can see that little cable go into that little transmission. So if I push the machine forward, as you can see, it engages that little cable and it will push the machine forward. And if I pull it back, as you can see, it pulls it backwards, and then the wheels will engage to go backwards. So that's a very cool system, and that is exactly the same as the Dial-O-Matics and Concepts, like I said earlier. So yeah, I'll show you the actual transmission here real soon. So we already talked about the handle. Now when TTI took over, they added this little sticker that says "Contact us, do not return to the store," which I don't remember the Maytag variants having that. So moving on to the back, you have your quick release cord hook. All your cord comes out at one go. And now this cord's a little different from the Maytag versions, as you can see. Instead of having that old school Hoover plug, the square one, this just has a traditional style plug. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. And also another small difference between the two is the Maytag version has a much darker plastic, whereas this one's a much lighter, almost gray, which was kind of cool. And I have to say, I actually like this lighter gray better, to be honest, rather than the darker one. I think it looks a lot cooler. And right here, you have your onboard tools. So you got your crevice tool, pretty standard. Dusting brush. So pretty much the same as what you got on an Elite or a traditional wind tunnel non-self-propelled. And then as you can see here, mine still has the tape from when this was brand new, which I won't take this tape off actually. So when I want to use the upholstery tool, I just peel it back like that, and I can pull out the upholstery tool, which as you can see is still the same as they've always used. And I do really like these tools. These are very nice upholstery nozzles. They do clean very well. So that just goes on the side there. And I'll put that tape back on. And now another cool feature is this has the 2 extension tubes, which is really nice because you can get a pretty good reach on this model if I put them together. As you can see, just how long that can go. And also another benefit from this is you can actually put a bare floor tool on there too, which is nice because this machine really is not good for bare floors. If you have tile or something like that, this would be fine, but I would not use this on a wood floor or any delicate floor because this will scratch it for sure. So yeah, if you have one of these and you have wood floors or something like that, I would definitely either get a new machine or get a bare floor tool. So anyway, moving on, as you can see, you have the hose, which is pretty typical. This was also the same hose you got on most of the wind tunnels. Except this one here is a lot more stretchier, as you can see. I don't know. I feel like because this is a slightly different material. I'm not sure what it is, though, than the Maytag ones. This one here is a little more... I'm not sure if it's stretchy, but it's a little more stiff, as you can see. And I don't know. It might be a little longer. As you can see, if I just pull it down, as you can see, it goes from there to here. So it's a decent length, but you do have to be careful you don't pull the machine back. And also another thing about this one here is the Maytag version like to collapse. This one here doesn't really like to go back to its original shape. So you can see it takes a little bit of time. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. Which, I'll just put that back in. Let's see what else. And now you can remove the hose easily just by giving it a quarter twist. You can unclog it. And right here is actually the little sensor for the embedded dirt finder. So basically, as stuff gets picked up through the hose, it passes through that, and it will make the lights change color on the dirt finder. But I wouldn't really rely on that because oftentimes these get very dirty and the light will stay red all the time. So yeah. So anyway, moving on to the rating sticker. And yeah, you can see that it's got a little bit of lean to it, but these always pretty much had that. So here's the rating sticker. It is model U6485900. Manufacturing code H11A, so I'm assuming that means that this was made in 2011. Bag type Y. 120 volts, 60 hertz, 12 amps. And this one here was made in Mexico. So this was before they were made in China. So yeah, and then obviously It's made by TTI. So yeah. And yeah, you can just hear that creak. But even brand new out of the box, these would have still had that. And now you do have a 3-position release, so as you can see, right now it's in the 3/4 position. But if you press it again, as you can see, it gets completely flat to the floor. So, and I'll try to show you a little better, but there's that little cable. As you can see, it runs all the way through the handle, all the way down here. So yeah, and it gets really dusty in here too, unfortunately. Then right here is the filter. So it says HEPA media traps 100 or 99.97% of dust and pollen down to 0.3 microns. So if I just open this up, as you can see, it's a little piece of foam. So yeah, not really a HEPA filter, but they did sell optional HEPA filters if you wanted that. They also sold extension hoses too for these, which, so if this hose wasn't long enough, you could get a extension hose. So that was kind of interesting. So I'll just tilt the machine back and let you see the brush roll and transmission. So when TTI took over, they went to CWP brush rollers, which these are great brush rollers. I highly recommend them. They also make brush rollers for Kirby and Auric too. These bristles are very stiff, and also the Maytag brush rollers weren't nowhere near as good as these. The bearings on these are so much better. So here I have a brand new CWP brush roller. Just kind of want to show it to you up close. The only difference between these two is this is a 15-inch, this one's only a 13-inch, but it is still exactly the same brush roller. And you can see the since this is brand new, the bearings are very good in it. So yeah, and I would pop it off to show it to you, but I don't have two hands for that. But they do have proper bearings in these. So yeah, and also another thing we can see is the wind tunnel technology, which all that is just a piece of plastic or a plastic tray inside the brush roll housing, which you can see right there. That's supposed to make it so that you get even suction on the whole cleaner head, since it's a side feed suction. So that was to try and make up for that. And then further down that is the transmission. Now there's a little bit of paint on there, but anyway, this is the exact same transmission, pretty much anyway, as the Concept and Dial-O-Matic, except this one here's, they may have cheapened out a little bit on this one, but because it doesn't feel like actual metal. I don't know what it exactly is. It's like metal, but it feels like plastic at the same time, so I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it still works very well though. And so yeah, I think I've showed just about everything I can with the overview, so now I guess I'll do the pickup test. Alright, so I got some dirt down on the carpet here, so we'll do the usual one pass forward, one pass back, see how this machine does. So here we go. Alright, so the red light was on, so it definitely detected some dirt. But, so not too bad. It got most of it up. There's a little bit hair left behind, and some smaller pieces, but for one pass it's not too bad. Now it did leave a little line here, but that's where the belt guard is, and the machine's now very dusty from this, but yeah. So yeah, there is a little line there. But otherwise it did very well for one pass. So what I'll do now is I'll clean the rest of this up and we'll go into the kitchen. Alright, so let's see how the machine does on hard floors now. So I got rice, salt, and some Cheerios. So usual stuff I test my machines on. So I'll do the usual one pass forward, one pass back. We just turn off the brush roll, and here we go. Now I do have the self-propelled turned off for this because you really shouldn't have the self-propelled feature on hard floors because it could scratch them. So here we go. Check. Okay, nothing came out of the machine, so that's good. Well, I'd say did all right, not too bad, but did leave a little bit here. And so yeah, obviously this machine's better suited for carpet and not hard floors, but you could use it on hard floors if you needed to. So now the next thing I'm going to test is a bare floor tool, which I got one right here. So like I said before, I'll use the 2 extension tubes, which is really nice that they included that. Alright, which now let me grab the hose, hook it up, so now you have this. So let's see how this does. great thing about this machine is it uses the standard 32mm 1.25" fitting, so you can use all kinds of different third-party attachments as well. So that's really good feature. So with the bare floor tool, it actually did very well, and I would say if you have hard floors, this is probably the best route. Alright, so let's see how the turbo brush does now. So I'll just hook it up real quick. Alright, so you can see the turbo brush works alright. However, if you press too hard, it will shut off. And now that's not the machine. As you can see, the machine does have pretty good suction, so it is fine for the turbo brush. It's just the turbo brush itself is not made the best. Well, I think that just about concludes today's review on the Hoover WindTunnel Self-Propelled. So, what do I think of this machine? It's a very good performer, as you saw. It does clean very well. It's got good power. It is definitely a beast for sure. However, the main negative thing with this machine is it is very heavy. I think it weighs like 20 pounds, so yeah, it's very heavy. And the self-propelled transmission can be a little complicated sometimes. So personally, I prefer the non-self-propelled variants, like my WindTunnel Supreme, for example, that I've done a review on, as well as my WindTunnel T-Series bagged. So, should you pick one of these up if you see it at a thrift store? Yes, if it's in good condition and you know how to properly maintain it, then I would definitely recommend it. However, I would definitely recommend looking at some of Hoover's newer lineup because they have some better options as well, so I would definitely check that out too. So that's all I got for today. If you enjoyed, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Bye for now.